Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Lighthouse Sessions. I'm excited. Today I have my new friend, Charity Brown, with me. Charity, why don't you just tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do?
Well, I'm Charity Brown. I'm an author and coach and a podcaster. I have the Create Clarity with Charity podcast. And it also goes with my book, Create Clarity with Charity. And it's about my journey as an entrepreneur and, the valley highs or the valley lows and the mountain highs and 25 years of experience of winning and failing and getting back up and just like a true story of resilience. So I've also am the founder of the Happy CEO method. I was in corporate for 20 plus years. I have a triple degree in business and accounting and new media. And I worked in the corporate box for a long time and was suffering and found a way to monetize my skills and brand myself as an expert. And now I have a program to help other people do the same thing.
I love it. And we will talk more about your program, but how did you come as a person? What was the moment where you said, this is the path? This is because one of the things I love about my visionary founders, we don't take some linear path. It's not, step A, step B. It's not like assembling IKEA furniture. We kind of zig and zag. And as you said, the lows and the highs. At what point did you realize that this was the path for you, the Happy CEO?
Well, yeah, I guess I had to hit rock bottom, I would say. Midlife crisis time in my life. I was 100 pounds overweight. I was stuck in my corporate controller, fractional CFO job. I was helping run like 20 restaurants in the Portland metro area, and I was miserable. And I had forgotten who I was because, like, years before that, I was an entrepreneur. I owned restaurants. I had my own accounting and bookkeeping business, QBooks Financial. I was just like, really successful for being a young mom too, because my daughter was 20. I had my daughter when my like 21, and I just graduated from college, and I didn't know anything about anything, and so I was really motivated to be successful because I didn't want to fail her, and I needed to be successful to support my family. So yeah, I did that. And then I thought after like 12 years of owning my restaurants and my accounting business, it would be great to get a corporate job. And so I moved to Portland in the big city and worked for a corporate. And oh my gosh, I really got super depressed. And I spent 7 years too long suffering through paycheck to paycheck and wondering where my fire went, where did my independence and freedom go? Where did all the abundance and the excitement, being your own boss and business owner? And I was just so stuck mindset wise and just overwhelmed and exhausted. And I had gained 100 pounds. I had to have 2 back surgeries. I had 2 herniated discs from that heavy weight. And I think it was just like stuffing my feelings and not honoring myself that I literally self-imploded.
It's amazing how heavy success can weigh on us when it's not the success we were meant for. And literally, physically, we eat our feelings, and we just slowly crush our dreams under that stress.
Yeah. Yeah, and it was a day-to-day battle. I literally was at war with myself. The inner war within, like having to get up every morning and beat the clock and be in the matrix of corporate and not having that freedom once you've had it, or you deserve it, or that's what you need, and then continually going against the grain, and toughing it out. Yeah, I learned the hard way, physically and mentally, financially. Like I had my whole, midlife crisis, and my daughter was a teenager. She was about to graduate from high school, and I was kind of having an identity crisis at the same time, because I'm like, what am I going to do if I'm not a mom? Like, if she's not going to want me to drive her to cheerleading anymore, like, I was like, what am I going to do with my life? I was so just overwhelmed with everything. So that's how I got into, reaching out. I had the back surgery. So when I was on workers' comp and I was laying up and I was like, I need to do something about my life. I'm not going to be disabled and sitting on the couch eating bonbons and watching soap operas for the rest of my life because I can't control my eating. I'm like emotionally eating, and I'm like beating myself up inside. And so I'm like tearing myself up inside. So my back is killing me, So I literally was like, I either choose me and, the life that I deserve and I go for it, jump, because there was so much fear there for so long that I just needed, because I was in, adverse situation. Family members were passing away. My fiance, I had to leave him. He was abusive. So it was just like, I was kind of just on my own, and I was scared to give up the salary and the benefits and the security. And I knew I'd have to rebuild. And I was just so overwhelmed that, So that's how I got to the happy CEO method was I became a very happy CEO, and I, started my new business with $250. And I got a coach, Sam Evans, who is consulting.com. He helped me build my consulting business, Now Answer Group. And this is in 2016. Yeah, 2000, when he first started his accelerator. Now he built School, this platform that's collaboration and stuff. And then he had this other course that was called Up Level, which was his consulting group coaching build community thing. And that helped me scale my business for the last 7 years, and it helped me help hundreds of people. But I would have never been able to do it without a coach
And I think that's, if I talk to a dozen entrepreneurs, they all complain about the myth that we're self-made, because we can flounder on our own, but it's not until we have a mentor or a coach or some version of guide. And the funny thing is, when I talk to truly successful people, they do not believe in the phrase self-made, because, it takes a village. And but I hear a lot of entrepreneurs, they're lonely or they feel like they're alone. So it sounds to me like you're building community as well as building your clients up.
Oh yeah. That's the key thing, is being able to share the knowledge and build a community where it's collaborative. I call it the co-collaborative I have on School, where we have happy CEOs and they're all there collaborating and sharing with one another, their tools, their resources. And then, when we all get together on our calls, it's cohesive. People are offering advice and offering new ways and tools and ideas. And you can never get that just from a book or watching, binge watching YouTube or something.
I play in the AI space, and it fascinates me. I can actually tell you which YouTuber somebody has been binge watching by what they tell me. And it's like, just stop watching YouTube and find a good mentor, because, in your case and mine as well, if we earn what we're now teaching, we're way more useful than a book, or God forbid, a YouTube video. Or, I actually know some people that have said, well, TikTok says I should do this. And I'm like, oh my God, don't make life decisions from TikTok.
Yeah, no. And that's the thing, because it's very diluted and dissected. So it's good to find someone you trust, that you want to be where they're at and they've done it. So there's all these new coaches out there. And, I was always a big Tony Robbins fan. Even in 1995, when he first started, he was like the coach. There weren't any other coaches. It was just him,
Yep.
And now there's a lot. So it's finding the one that understands your niche. Are you an accountant? Are you a financial professional? Are you a business owner, agency owner, marketer? You own restaurants. I find your niche and find somebody who's done really well in that business, and then interview them. Like, I have free strategy calls on my site where people we can meet each other, get to know each other, find out more about what you do, who you help, who you serve, that kind of thing, and then see if it would be a good fit. And so there is somebody out there for you, and that is the magic. That is what will shift you and take you from that glass ceiling to 7 and 8 figures.
Yeah. And I think that's the myth, that you have to figure it out yourself. I'm sorry, but life's too short to make all the mistakes. You're on your own. Learn from others. So let's talk about your framework, because I'm a big fan of frameworks. So in the Happy CEO, you have the 4Ps framework. Tell me a little how that evolved, and then you can tell me what the 4Ps are, because I think that'll be a fun conversation.
Okay. Yeah, so the 4Ps are power, planning, positioning, and profits. And number one, inner fitness. A lot of people are like, what is inner fitness? So we work a lot on visualizing, self-belief, and getting very clear, absolute clarity on success. What does success look like to you as the happy CEO of your life or business? Really getting into the details. Like I do these dream boards and all these things, even on Pinterest. You can just create, this is happiness to me. I know I can attain it. Let's be realistic. How am I going to do this? And then get really pumped about it. And then close your eyes. And like Dr. Joe Dispenza teaches, just picture like a white screen and you standing triumphantly on a mountaintop. Like, I won. What are you doing? Who are you with? How much are you making? Where are you at? What, who are you helping? How are you feeling? Getting really clear on that vision of success before we even get into the business tools, because we have the whole Clarity AI network. We have Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank, if anyone needs money. We have all these brand marketers and, people that come and help everybody scale. So getting certain about, can you do this? Is this realistic? Do you see yourself? Will it make you happy? And get into those finite details. So I found that confusion and overwhelm is the biggest stumbling block for entrepreneurs and people in general. I think that just not being clear on their goals and what success looks like, and then taking action, because it's one thing to know and to not do. Then you're being complacent, then you can beat yourself up about it. But it's different if you don't know, but you're taking action. Now you're wasting time. I mean, maybe it is helping, but you can move the needle so much faster if you had both. And so we do exercises, inner fitness exercises, and everyone has their power hours, and everyone has their, their goals and their action items and their wins for the day. So focusing on, cultivating a better relationship with ourselves, being our own best coach for ourselves, and setting ourselves up for success. So that's the first P, power.
I love that. And if I could chime in just for a second, I see a lot of people who are running as fast as they can, literally in circles. And I'm like, where are you going? I don't know, but I'm making good time. And it's like, you wouldn't plan a road trip like that. Why would you leave your life to that sort of chaotic chance?
I did that for a long time. I was just wish marketing. Have you heard wish marketing? And just like believing in faith, like it's fate, like I'm just going to keep going. No, oh my gosh, I'd be so much farther if I would have stopped and just thought about it. And really take time, and sometimes it's hard. It's so hard to be real with ourselves. Like, especially if you have like invested a lot of money, time, energy, and it's like your baby, like my restaurants, it was so hard to let go of them, but it was just running me into the ground. I was stealing all my freedom. I was taking all my money and all my peace of mind, but I'm like, I don't want to give up, but I didn't know what tomorrow was going to look like.
Well, I will admit that my one of my worst habits is I have sheer grit, and sometimes I don't know when I should quit. And it's like, sometimes the universe is telling you something, you need to stop and listen. And I think that's the thing. Everybody's just running flat out.
Yeah, and it has to do with a lot of fear and confusion. Like I said, the overwhelm and the lack of clarity. And that's why I wrote the book, Create Clarity with Charity, because my entire life changed when I just got clear. It sounds so cliche and simple, right? But it's so true. It's like, if you really take time to be clear about what success looks like for you, even day to day, like when you wake up, do your gratitude, do your power hour, think about how you want your day to go, really think about what success looks in about 3, 6, 90 days. and see you there. And then you know what action you can put all that energy into very effective action instead of just burning time, energy, money, and exhaustive resources. Yeah.
And effective, two of my favorite words, one is effective, one's transformation, because I think everybody is looking for superficial and shallow, and you can be really efficient, but if you're doing the wrong things, efficiency doesn't matter, but effective, you're stopping and thinking what's next. So what's our next P, and let's talk about that.
Well, then it's the planning. So we plan all the action. So, we use high level tools that the banks and investors, Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank endorsed it. It's my 60-second elevator pitch and my investor summary. So it's pretty much your business, your vision of success dialed into a very, effective way to share with partners and investors and banks. And it's like a business GPS. Essentially, it's your business GPS. It'll hold you accountable to that vision.
I love that. Okay. Now, what's the next P?
Positioning. So yeah, then you got to position yourself in your market space. And so we have this $1 billion branding strategy that is created by Admanity Protocol, Brian Gregory. He's one of the second most growing AI intelligent companies in the US. He also has Admanity reports that they used to sell for like $10,000 to like Fortune 500 companies, but now you can get your own custom one for your business. And so we help people really position themselves as experts in their niche. And they get this branding strategy that is really stealth. And you get on CBS, ABC, NBC, you get like 250 articles with that. You got to brand your story. We help you craft your offer and your story, and then we position you. Yeah.
I love that. And I'm laughing to myself because you said so much in that one sentence or phrase, but a lot of people don't get the fundamentals of, first of all, they think a niche is everybody with skin. And then the other is they don't try to stand out. They try to blend in and say, yeah, I do that too. And both of those things are opposite of what I believe. And so it's nice to hear somebody else saying these things, because I get really annoyed when people tell me that, oh, I can serve anybody with skin or everybody's my audience. And it's like, how's that working for you?
Right. Yeah, that doesn't work. I mean, yeah, I learned that. I mean, I felt that way back in the day when I first started my e-commerce business. I just had, selling stuff online as anyone can buy it. No, but the smart people find a problem to solve with a product. I was just buying all kinds of stuff, drop shipping crazy land, marketing all over the world to everybody and anyone, wish marketing, wishing.
Yeah.
I get a sale. It does kind of work, but it's not the best way to do it, obviously. You know that. You just throw money in the wind when you do that.
It's fascinating because literally this morning I've told 2 people off for cold pitching me on drop shipping as a business. And I'm like, leave me alone.
That was so 10 years ago, bro. What do you want? Like, you can't even make money on Amazon anymore. Like,
yeah.
Yeah. That was a great wave though for entrepreneurs that didn't feel they had a skill or a talent or a trade, that you could just always sell something online. Like some people get stuck on, I don't know what kind of business I would have. And that will keep them stuck for decades because they don't feel like they want to have their own agency or marketing firm or do whatever their career is. They don't want to make that their business. But then there's some people that do and create multi-7-figure agencies in less than a year. So, that's why we have this custom program that metamorphosizes to the entrepreneurs that are ready to build businesses online. And there's enough people and skill sets within our program that it seems to catapult them into entrepreneurship, whether they've already started and just been kind of making it a hobby, or they're making 6 figures, but they are at a glass ceiling. So that's why we call it accelerated. It's 5 weeks. So it's like you will notice the first 6 weeks, you'll be blown out of your chair.
I love that. And that's one of the things I tell people is momentum is everything, because if you've spent 10 years languishing, you've stopped dreaming and you're just surviving.
Yeah. And that's the burnout. That's just the complete frustration and disappointment. You're like, I worked so hard. I was so smart. I did it all right. I got the degrees, I show up, I work overtime. I work my ass, and this is like, this is not it. It's not rewarding. Yeah. This is, burning my fire out completely. So that's when you're like, okay, do I want to live life? Step in and say, okay, I choose me. Because when we put ourselves on the back burner for other people that aren't even valuing us, then what are we saying to ourselves? So we'll just keep attracting that. Yeah.
Well, and I'm just going to point out, you mentioned your daughter. I'm more worried about what I'm telling my kids, because I don't want them. And, I'd heard a quote that basically generational mistakes repeat until somebody's willing to suffer the pain to solve it. And when I heard that, I was like, there's no way my kids are learning my bad habits or mistakes. They're going to learn good ones so they can make their own mistakes and grow as humans. But it's amazing to me that people don't realize that, our kids are watching, and whatever we tolerate, they're going to grow up to experience. Like, it's just, so that was my get out of bed every day when life was tough. You just, okay, well, my kids don't deserve this, so I'm going to fix it and move forward.
Yeah. I mean, especially when you're responsible for other humans, it's like a big responsibility, and employees. So that's another thing, like, or your staff, your team, kids, other people are impacted by our choices that we make for ourselves. And then we project. So if we're unhappy, miserable, fed up, burnt out, then they are feeling that. Anyone close to you, and you can try to stuff it and hide it and wear a poker face like I had to do for so many years. Because I was taught old school way, you do not show your cards. You do not let anyone know you're sweating. You do not talk about it with everyone and be honest about it. You covet all your tools and all your resources, and everyone needs to fight to try to get them, No one was sharing this kind of information.
I love that. And honestly, it's funny because a friend of mine's an intellectual property lawyer, and he's like, Jeff, you got to protect everything. And I'm like, honestly, most of the stuff I've learned, I know because I've, hit rock bottom and bounced and crawled along for a while. Somebody wants to steal that. Okay. But they're not going to ever be convincing, because they don't know what got me out of bed in the morning. And, when they try to repackage it and sell it, they come out tomorrow and have the 4 C's or the 4 F's, and it's not going to be what you authentically bring. So
yeah, that's the whole thing. The magic is in the sauce. Okay. It's not just it's literally, someone can't fake this. Right. Yeah. You have to have lived it and learned from it. And then if you feel that you need to steal it from me and not do your own work, that's on you. Like, like I've had things like that happen in the last 7-8 years, several times. And you just have to get over the fear of feeling. It's another fear thing. It's building trust. Yeah. And I trust the process, and the process is to share, collaborate, and open up and share resources instead of covet them and hide them and make everyone go get a triple degree and spend $100,000 and 15 years of cruising for a bruising, and and then they can figure it out. Or they can get an expert or a mentor or a coach who's already been there, done that, who will share it with you.
Yeah. And I think that's the thing. People fascinate me when they say, well, I don't need a coach, I'll figure it out myself. And it's like, I have no doubt, like, I will say this sincerely, I have no doubt you'll figure it out on your own if you're willing to put in the time, the energy, the money. Honestly, looking foolish when you try things and fail. A coach just, they're not going to stop you from falling, but they will help you get up and keep moving when you do fall. So
it's like the best guide to have. I have several different coaches, an inner fitness coach at the gym, a sales coach, a speaking coach, a this coach, a that coach, a spiritual coach. Like, let's get the real people that have gone through the processes, because I'm over, learning it the hard way.
It's just so much easier to learn from somebody else. And I like to see it. So I'm obsessed with the concept of mastery, and I want to master something. So I want somebody who's been there, done that, and can criticize my form. But I do find a lot of people would rather be comfortable and not hear the criticism, and yet they don't realize the price they pay in terms of delayed results. Now I'm going to ask you about the fourth P, because arguably it's my favorite one. Literally, I know why it's last, but without it, the other three don't really lead to success, do they?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, then it's a hobby. If there's no profits, if there's no revenue, it's a hobby, right?
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I have a side hustle, but where's the profits? Let's measure things. I'm an accountant by trade. So, money, numbers speak to me. And they tell stories and they draw pictures, and you really only need to know like 5 key things. And that's what we go over. We get everyone a lot more comfortable with the numbers, because a lot of people shy away. They don't want to even do it. They're confused already. They just got this number block thing, money block. And you got to get over that. You got to have a very much better relationship with money, so you have profits, because that's why we're in business. And so that P, people start getting momentum once they got the vision, they got the plan, they got their positioning. Now let's make the money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm going to just say this, because I feel like I'm having this conversation a lot lately, which tells me the universe is wise. There are a lot of really smart people who don't value what they know, because to them it came easy. And then somewhere along the line, they were told, you got to help others. And they literally, I've seen some really smart people who've taken an unofficial vow of perpetual poverty, because somewhere they learned that one person actually said, it's not my talent, it's my gift from God, and therefore I should give it away. But I'm like, no, I think God would want you to give it away in a way that feeds you, so that you can keep giving it away, rather than, okay, I'm starving to death. Sorry, everybody. The goodwill is closed, right?
Right. Yeah, we got to unlearn some things. Us older generation, we were taught, filthy loot, more money, more problems. This money, that money, root of all evil, blah, 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 money, So we have to unlearn what is the problem with money here? Like, we want to receive money, not continually give. But if it's 50-50, like we're always giving and receiving, right? If you can do that, then that's what God gave you that skill and talent for. Because there's always going to be this give take. It's not just going to be give. I'm going to be poverty mindset. I'm going to be poverty. God wanted me poor. That's not true. God says he's a kingdom. You have all the riches in the world. Where are you getting this? That I need to be a martyr and give away all my skills. Yeah. No, I've met so many people like that. And I was like that. I had kind of an aggressive relationship with money, where I would block money blessings for myself, but it would flow for all my clients, because I actually hated doing accounting. And I'm more of a creative person, but I got a degree in it because I knew there's always going to be money. I'll always have a job. My grandpa was an economist. He said, get a degree, get a business degree. And he said, not just a business degree, get one with a focus area. And he said, go read the newspaper and tell me, what jobs do you see that are in the newspaper? And there's like all these payroll, AP clerk, general accountant, CFO, all this. And I was like, wow, it's all money jobs. And he's like, just take an accounting class. And I hated math. I did. I was like the less likely person to ever get an accounting degree. I did it, and it served me, but I didn't really enjoy it. It was like one of those punishing things that I did for myself.
It's funny. I think accounting is a people business more than a number business. And I was a numbers guy, and I'm like, why do I have to talk to people? But I'm going to share something. When I was a kid, I heard the phrase, money is the root of all evil. That's what I heard. And then as an adult, I went, oh, it's actually the love of money. And I went, oh, shit. It's
Right?
one of
Yeah,
those.
it's our thoughts. That's the thing. Thoughts are things, and
Yeah.
thoughts will block us from our true potential, and it will be those things that we let society ingrain in us that will literally are the ones that keep us stuck. So that's what like doing the work is all about with a coach, because we'll find that, and people aren't aware until they're aware. So it's like, you're not going to know till you know, and you'll find out so much faster if you have someone help you out.
Well,
Yeah.
and it's funny. Somebody said, "Well, I'll figure it out myself," and I'm like, "You do realize that by definition, we can't see our blind spots."
Yeah.
And it was like, but again, this was the same guy who says, "I don't know where I'm going, but I'm making good time." I'm going to share something a friend of mine gave me. One of his friends is a rabbi, and they were having a debate about, is it good and proper to earn money and to keep money and accumulate wealth? And the rabbi said his view of the world is that money is just little certificates of appreciation. And when people give them to us, we're helping them by letting them feel generous for having shown their appreciation. And I was like, oh, that's a nice.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's a currency, right? So it could be a good, be loving currency, an abundant fun night, or it could be really ugly and mean and it could just make money, all kinds of things. People are just like money is just one of those tools. I've always just said it's like a tool. We can use it in many ways. Yeah.
I love that. And honestly, it's just a transfer of energy. And, I think I used to think you with money, it was like breathing, but you either breathe in or breathe out. And it's like, no, it's not an or. Mm-hmm. You will never get too far if you do too much of one and none of the other. It's a flow, right?
Yeah, it's a flow, frequency. Yeah. Currency. Yeah. And that's, and it does whether it's like a dollar bill or it's just a number on your balance sheet or whatever, there's a lot behind that. How you got it, where it came from, what you're going to use it for. You could go down the rabbit hole. It definitely, for entrepreneurs, we got to have it. Okay. Because you don't have a business without it. So point blank, like, I guess you could have a service-based business where there's no exchange of money. So then it's just more energetically exchange. I guess there's those somewhere, maybe.
I'm going to share I have weird hobbies. And one of my hobbies is I love studying billionaires. And I get a lot of flack from other people because they think it's about greed, but I'm fascinated because every billionaire I've studied, they come from great scarcity. Jay Leno was homeless and arrested twice on the spot where his Hollywood Walk of Fame star is. He collects cars because he was homeless, had to sleep in his car. And he said, if I'm ever homeless again, I'm going to sleep in a nice car. But the fascinating thing was all of them started from the never again negative energy. It was like, I'm not going to be poor again. And then somewhere they were like, ooh, I'm actually good at this. And they started, it was building the empire to build the empire. And then there was this weird twist in almost all of them where it was about, I've got enough. I've got more than enough. My kids are going to have more than they can live with. And then it was, how do I give it back? Mm-hmm. And I just found that a fascinating, and again, not every billionaire is a benevolent, but you look at Warren Buffett or Bill Gates, and they've literally given away most of their fortune while they're still alive.
Right, but that's still a legacy. That's still a business. They have to have a 501c3 or a 501c6 nonprofit. Like, they're giving it as a philanthropist. They get tax write-offs, so they don't got to pay income tax. So it's still like the heart. It does matter. Yeah, I work with so many nonprofit organizations, huge ones, and I've worked for ones that are hobbling and like are always at a deficit. And then I've worked with ones that, have more money than God. So it's kind of like, yes, the mission is important, but it's still a business. And so that's the other thing. Like, you can give money, but there's still that exchange of something that they're getting for it.
Well,
unless
and this is
a man on the street. Then it's like,
exactly. Now, this is a little off topic, but one of my views, I've met a few entrepreneurs who build separate businesses, And the whole point of that business is to fund philanthropy. And I find it fascinating because they get feedback all the time. Oh, you should just give the money to charity. Not you, but charities in general. And one of my fundamental flaws with that is I see a lot of nonprofits. They're very much about scarcity, and literally money comes in and it goes right out because they're trying to do good, but then they're always broke looking for the next handout. And the ones I know, they build profitable businesses, and 100% of the profit goes to creating good in the world. And I find it fascinating.
Oh yeah, that's the legacy part of that's when you know you've really stepped into your true purpose and position, when you have that much abundance and you can now build legacy. And that's like the legacy projects with the free books and the free webinars. And that's also building legacy. And that's not just giving money, but that's time, energy, and tools. And I think being of service is part of life. If you're not doing something nice for others or creating, some kind of, I'm a giver. So maybe that's just in my heart, because it does make me feel better when I can give. So maybe it is a selfish thing, but I've also liked to have purpose, and I like mission-based businesses. And so, yeah, having a nonprofit is great. I love to help the veterans. I love to help the inner city youth. And I love to help people when they need it, because Lord knows I needed it when I was down, and there was people there to help me.
And I think that's a lot of my favorite. I meet a lot of visionary entrepreneurs, and they all have one eye on, this is what my business is, and then this is the legacy piece. And it's fascinating because the more they give away and the more successful their legacy is, their actual business seems to thrive because of, it's like that energetic flow, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, altruism, or what comes around goes around, or just being blessed. Once you start getting in that state of freedom to give and receive. So that's why I was saying that it's not just I'm giver. I need to receive, or you're going to be depleted and you're going to have half a cup and you're going to give it away and then you're going to have nothing. So we all have to get back into that state of mind that I give, I receive as well. And even with time, energy, love, money, all the things I give, I will receive. Natural, universal poles of the earth or God or whatever, it happens. You can't stop it. Maybe you got to wait longer sometimes than others. I don't expect it. Like the least expected stuff that I've given, I've got back, and I just can't believe it. Like I was like, I never thought I would get one dime back from that.
Yeah. Well, and I think energetically, if you're giving expecting to get, the universe knows that, and it's got a twisted sense of humor. But if you give with the expectation that it will come back, I just don't know how, it seems like the harder I work to make money, the more it eludes me. Yet when I look at how do I make value, I can't turn the money away. It just comes.
Yeah, exactly. And that's part of the positioning to profits, because you have to position yourself in a place where your tools are valued, your skill, whatever product you're selling solves a problem. It's helping somebody, whether it's attractive or not. Like some of the craziest problems people sell stuff for, you would never have guessed, but they're making $1 million difference. It's like, okay.
It is.
Step up to the plate, and
sure, somebody made a lot of money selling pet rocks, and it's like, isn't it just a rock? No, it's a pet rock. It's a rock. I'm sorry. Yeah. But, I learned a long time ago that it's not what I think people should value. It's what people value. And, it is amazing. Nobody thinks twice about the price of, a high-end car because they're thinking about the pleasure of driving it. Yet I see a lot of experts, they want to compete in that low-end space and say, hey, I can help everybody. And, for $10, you buy my book and I'll give you all my wisdom. and I got nothing else to share. That's kind of a sad mentor. Sorry to say, but
Yeah, that's when you gotta take a step back and reevaluate. And that's when you do the GPS again and you get back on that vision, because you don't want to overgive and then underserve yourself, because then you're no good to anybody. So you have to fill your own tank. And that's the part of the P. You have to go back to your power, because you wouldn't do that if you were waking up every day and putting yourself first and really finding out what it is that you need and what does success look like today. And we all lose sight of that. It's like going to the gym. You have to hit the muscles. You have to do the work. You know, you have to really sit and be thoughtful about it and intentional. I mean, a lot of good things have happened to me without me doing that, but you know, life's a little smoother and kinder ride when you are intentional about living it.
well, and again, it's fascinating that nobody would ever say to a car, "You give me 10 more miles, and then I'll put gas in the tank." Yet entrepreneurs, we do that to ourselves all the time. It's like, just 10 more miles, I can do it. And it's like, no, stop and rest.
Yeah. Yeah, we're really good at having multiple balls in the air, burning the candle at both ends, fire right under the fanny. Gotta keep going.
Yeah. Well, I got to be honest. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are addicted to the dopamine rush. And I think sometimes we light fires just to come in and put them out and go, look at me, I can fight fires. It's like, stop playing with matches, for crying out loud.
Yeah, that's when, you know, there is time to change, you know, and I know it hits us all differently at different times, but when it does, it's like the aha moment, and you're like, oh my gosh, I couldn't see. I was living in it for so long. I was living in the chaos and the madness. I was in the mad cycle. I was creating all this drama myself because I wasn't taking the time to talk to myself, to communicate within, to really be, you know, and I would have rather have done that. I would have rather done it the right way, because it's painful, expensive, and, you know, a waste of time sometimes, and energy, exhaustion, you know. So
I love it. Now, I want to be mindful of your time. Where can people go to connect with you, learn about the Happy CEO? Because I personally believe happiness is far more important than money. And really, when the happiness flows, the money comes. So where can they find you and connect with you?
Yeah, well, I'm on LinkedIn. You can look up Charity Brown. You'll see my Create Clarity with Charity and the Happy CEO stuff on my LinkedIn. Also has some of my accounting, my corporate professionals. I've tried to get rid of all that. I don't know. I think it's still on there. Or you can go to my website, charitybrown.biz. My podcast is there. My free book downloads are there. The programs are there. There's several great videos from my students, testimonials, and the endorsement from Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. And and I'm on all the socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I'm ramping up the program for 2026. It's the new accelerated Happy CEO. So you don't have to work with me for 5 months. It's 5 weeks accelerated. So if you're thinking that you want momentum the first part of this year, and get with a group of people and really help dial you in for success, utilizing the hottest tech tools in AI today, along with expert mentors, then jump on a clarity call with me, and they're free.
Clarity with Charity. I love it. And by the way, I'm a huge fan of the saying iron sharpens iron, and I don't think we understand how important that is. Now, I'm going to ask you the hardest question, but it's also the most fun. If you could go back in time and talk to your 20-year-old self, I can't remember your age when you're told to look in the paper, but what advice would you give to counter that advice? Or would you just roll with it?
Oh, wow. Well, I think that was good sound advice, because I've used that tool my entire career, and it's made me so much money, and I've helped so many people. So I can't say that that was bad advice. But what I can say is that I probably should have followed my creative And because it was very hard for me to teach myself to get into that accounting brain box. Like it was literally war between me and myself every day. And like, I really had to like learn to like it and respect it and do it because it was paying the bills and I was good at it. But I didn't like it. My soul didn't like it. It wasn't like, oh, this is so fun. I love this, but you win when you have a career or a job that you can't wait to wake up to. So that's what I would tell myself is to think, I'm going to invest 15 years, 20 years of my life doing this. Am I going to feel fulfilled? Is this something that I really see myself doing? And I would have said, hell no, and I would have started a salon, I would have did fashion. I would have had 15 stores or something. I would have been an entrepreneur because I always was at heart. I always was. Even when I was a little kid, I was selling tie-dyes, to my neighbors, dog grooming and snack bar. I was handing out flyers when I was 10, trying to get business. I was it just always excited me. So I would do what excites you, what lights you up and turns you on, not necessarily what is just a good job and that you'll have security.
Years ago, I think it was monster.com, they had these ads and it was little kids saying things like, when I grow up, I want to be a yes man and I want to be made redundant. And it's like, oh my God, what would our 10-year-old selves say to us when we're settled in at a desk going, but the benefits are good?
Right.
I'm dying under this.
Yeah, I never saw that for myself. I always was like, wow, I don't know how that all happened, but it was determination, one. And I was just pressing willpower, straight up, don't want to fail in life. I'll do whatever it takes, and that's what entrepreneurship does take, is that kind of attitude and really being determined and reaching out for help. I wish I would have had mentors when I was younger. I wish I would have had coaches when I was younger. I mean, I had tennis coach, swim coach, but you need mindset coach, you need transformation coach, you need people to really help you deal with emotionality and things like that.
Well, and for what it's worth, I love it because I get to time travel and tell 13-year-olds myself that, because I have a 13-year-old son right now, and it's all about mindset. We're working on mindset because nothing else matters until you've mastered that mindset. And so that's fun for me.
Oh, fun. I love that. And their minds are just so unabused and open. And I've seen so many successful, teenage entrepreneurs and young entrepreneur programs that scale all the way to making their money before any of my adult clients, because they're still stuck in this. They can't, get out of the mindset of the fear, the risk, this or that. And so, start when you're young, because that is the best gift, when you realize you're not in life alone and you can change and metamorphosize. And, you're a very powerful person when you take control of your thoughts and your actions, because then you start seeing, this is the life that I'm working for, creating. It's just not happening to me. I'm just not a human doing. I'm a human being.
Yeah. It's funny, that word, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right. Well, Charity, I could talk to you all day, but I want to be mindful of your time. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you, Jeff. I loved talking with you, and I hope your audience enjoyed it too. And hopefully we can all meet again. And I would love for you to be on my podcast at some point.